All right. So what I was saying was, on the one hand, you have the people who complain that there's too much content. Like I've seen probably 30, 40 comments in the last couple of days about this game having too much to do. Matter of fact, that video I made yesterday, Transcend, where you had, I think it was you who asked like, how big is the map? And then I like, or how big is the game? And I like opened this up and I was showing off the map. That video in particular has a couple few comments on it of people saying, well, the problem is there's so much stuff on the map. There's so much content, but the problem is like there's just the quality of the content, and it's too condensed, and there's just too much to do, and we're getting sidetracked, and it needs to be more focused, and blah 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 blah. Blah. So on the one hand, you have people who complain there's too much to do. So we're 20 hours in, we've barely uncovered, and we're an hour and 45 minutes into the stream this morning, and all I've been doing is side quests, right? And I still have more that I could do, and there's all the bounties and everything else, right? So we're finally focusing on a main mission, and that's a choice. I chose to do side quests this morning, and that's the thing. You, the individual, have the self-control or not to focus on main missions or go off and do side quests. Because here's the thing, over here in the missions log, you get to choose how you track things. Like, what do you want to work on? Do you want to work on main quests and missions like vaults and quests, or do you want to work on challenges, or do you want to work on contracts, or do you want to go do replays and kill bosses again? Like, there's all these different things that you can do. So on the one hand, you have the people who complain that there's too much to do. There's too much content. I'm sidetracked. I'm confused. There's too much. And then on the other side, you have the people who, like that video we did on, I think it was Mafia the Old Country, where people complained that a 12-hour game was too short to justify a $50 price tag. And then we went into the math of how that's just not true, because going to the movies is more expensive than buying a video game. So on the one hand, you have people who can't be happy because games are too short, and then on the other hand, you have people who can't be happy because games are too long. And in the middle are all the normal people who just play games to have fun. And those two extremes are the ones who make it really, really annoying when you just want to play a game and enjoy the game, because they are focusing on these weird random complaints that have nothing to do with whether or not a game is fun. It's just like, if you just focus on the fun of the game, like a lot of I see what Lou is saying in regards of sometimes a lot of content can be overwhelming to some. I mean, I have a hard time agreeing with that because of this right here. This does not make it difficult to focus yourself. Like, almost every single game out there comes with some form of like a mission tracker or quest journal or some way to focus your attention. So having stuff like this where there's a ton of stuff to do, like I have probably spent and I think we were talking about this at the very beginning of the stream today, because when I logged into the game, it actually told me how much percentage I had, excuse me, towards the main quest, and how many hours I had put towards the main quest. So I had like 20 hours in the game, and it said that I had put 15 hours towards main questing and about 5 hours towards doing side quests. Now, that's not directly representative of the time that I've spent doing side quests. I think that just means that they've tracked 15 hours of gameplay that has gone towards main mission objectives while also working on this other stuff. But I just think it's an interesting thing to me to hear people complain about too much content, while in the same breath you have people complaining about not enough content. Like, I feel like if everyone would just, play the games, you'll have fun. I promise you'll have fun, regardless if the game is big or small. I just think it was an interesting thing to touch on this morning, because I've been seeing the people complaining about the game being too big, and it's like, well, everyone complained that the game was going to be $70 or $80 or whatever the base price was going to be, and you're definitely getting your money's worth if you want to look at it from an hourly perspective, because the when we did the math this morning, if I'm 15 hours in, and I think I was 26% or whatever we did the calculation, that's going to be like 50 hours of main content. We talked about this the other day, like people are getting 40 to 50 hours out of the main story and 80 plus hours out of a completionist journey. That's definitely worth the price tag if you look at it from a per hour played. But then on the other side, we also have the Mafia of the Old Country, where $50 for 12 hours still tracks if you're getting the enjoyment out of it, because it's cheaper than going to the movies. Um, there's no such thing as too much content. Just use the mission tracker. It's that simple.